All right, welcome to episode number 33 of At Witt's End. I'm Ken, that's Carson. There's a 9 hour difference. Carson's in Upper Austria in Linz. I'm on the west coast of the United States in Northern California.
And you
This
got
ep-
a, I was gonna say, you got a little bit of Lynch swag on you now.
I was going to bring that up because people are saying, what can this episode be about? Well, this is kind of a follow up to episode 23, which was your
30,
visit. 33, I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Well, no,
No,
20,
23.
yeah,
Yeah, 23.
23.
I think it was back in March when you had visited Rome. Um, we had just done a cruise. We got off the boat. We met you in the large city of Ravenna at the train station.
Not
And
large city, just
well,
just a city.
yeah. Well, if you listen to
Kind of.
the other episodes,
Yeah.
it's a port city where the cruise ships now go because they can't go into Venice.
Yep.
So from Ravenna, we went to Bologna, switched trains into Rome, and from there we'll kind of discuss my thoughts on Rome and your thoughts. Luckily, we had Carson there who had just been to Rome. He was our tour director.
Yeah.
Um,
So to preface this, when was the last time you remember being in Rome?
I think in my 20s.
So that was like 100 years ago or so.
Yeah, back before the automobile,
All right.
I had to
Yeah.
take a cruise ship out of New York to get there. Yeah, that's how
Okay.
long ago.
And then my mother has never been to Rome, so this was part of
Her birthday trip.
you guys going for her birthday. Is she had to see Rome for the first time? So
Yes,
um,
and we stayed in a gorgeous hotel, the Ambassadore, which is a
Intercontinental.
intercontinental, recently remodeled. And I must have mentioned to them that it was a birthday because they had a nice little birthday tart waiting for us and a bottle of champagne. And we had a lovely room overlooking the street. We had a little balcony, which the other rooms didn't.
Yeah, I
That's,
will say about well, that's the only part we'll talk about the hotel, but the Intercontinental was absolutely 5-star service. It was very clean, simple. Had a lot of like mid-century, the Hollywood Rome kind of era, I guess is how to put it.
yeah,
Um,
the
that
old
kind of
movies
old,
of the Spanish Steps. And
yeah,
you
the
have
old,
to note, too, it is in the ambassador or in the embassy area, right across the street from the U.S. Embassy.
it's in the area the Hollywood actors and actresses used to visit and stay in, and when they were in Rome. So it kind of larkens back to that era
Yeah.
um, of
What was
Rome in
the
America.
one disappointing thing about the hotel?
The one disappointing thing
When I
about the
say it,
hotel.
it'll be obvious to you.
Wait.
It's not part of the hotel, but it's
Oh,
next to
you're.
the hotel.
Oh. I was gonna say you didn't. You had mentioned to me that they didn't have a grand staircase and you wanted a grand staircase,
Oh,
but
they had a small grandstand. It's a
they
small. Yeah.
they have a Hard Rock right out front,
It's
right
not
next
part of
to
the
it.
hotel.
Yeah,
That's
it's
one of our
underneath.
things is we don't understand the attraction of Hard Rocks, and people were there. It was packed. People were buying
People love it.
T-shirts.
Yeah.
That's a whole different episode. So,
But
but
for our review on the Intercontinental, I didn't stay there, but I was
thumbs
there a
up.
lot. Yeah, the doorman, the lobby staff, everything about it was fantastic. It's a definitive 5-star hotel. Can't recommend it enough. Although it's a little bit expensive, but I think that's just the time of year.
Well, I
But
think
yeah,
it's the travel, the modern travel. Everything's expensive now, but that's a whole different story. So,
yeah. So that's the
and
hotels out of the
I
way.
do want to point out some advice if you're traveling to Rome. We had originally thought about staying at the Spanish Steps Inn near the Spanish Steps, right in the old city. I'm kind of glad we didn't because you had stayed there. You had a different experience. It was not the July crowds.
Yeah, I would actually say you should stay there. Um, because you don't have to take a taxi to most things.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It's easier to get to everything because I literally walked to everywhere and I took maybe one taxi the entire time. I walked everywhere. We took, granted, for
But
different reasons,
but
but
if you're single on your own traveling, it's different than when you're with a group or family. I
yeah.
think.
But I would recommend staying in that area. Like I stayed, yes. I'm the opposite of your recommendation. say
Well,
that.
yeah, but in July in this heat, I would say I enjoyed the fact that it was a little more isolated, not in the city, in the center of everything. There were some bars and clubs around that weren't real touristy. So that's what
Yeah,
I liked about it. Great hotel
yeah. It's not out of the peak touristy area.
and a
Um,
beautiful embassy for the United States. So
yeah. So day one. So we meet up in Ravenna. We take the train to Rome. Takes a few hours. We're there in the noon time. Check in the hotel. And I had booked you guys, myself included, for a Rome food tour as the first thing to do. Um, Going off the fact that I had done one previously when I had been to Rome last time, and I really enjoyed it. It's a very touristy thing, but it's a good way to eat a lot of different foods and see a lot of different places. And both of them, I put through a different organization this time. But yeah, so we went on a food tour in the Trastevere neighborhood. I
it's a
butchered that a
very
little
cool
bit.
neighborhood. Yeah.
And through it's called the tour guide, but the Roman guy is the website. Um, but
Is that
yeah,
the one you
so
did the first time or
it
this
is
time?
not. No, so the
Okay.
first time I did it through what's called the Roman food tour, but it was on getyourguide.com, which is a
Which you would
yeah.
recommend over what we did. So I just want to let
Yes, yeah.
people
So
know that.
yeah, I just will go into that saying I recommend the original one I did, which was in the Prati neighborhood. Yeah, I think it was a better food tour, but definitively, in my opinion, better food tour than the one we did. Um, yeah, so it started with well, it didn't start with what it was supposed to start with, but it started with a antipasti plate, so some meats and cheeses.
Well, actually, it started with the fried cod.
Well, it wasn't supposed to. That's why I say
Okay.
that.
Okay.
So it was
Gotcha.
supposed to. It was supposed to start with the antipasti plate, but instead, because we're so busy at that place, which is one of the reasons I didn't like it as much, because it was so busy at each stop because they had multiple tours from the same tour group going on at the same time. Um, that we had to
Yes.
skip ahead to the fried codfish place. So, but we'll start at the what it was supposed to be. So, the whole premise was you eat like a
A local.
Italian, a Roman, a local, and you go through the different dishes at different restaurants. So, um, the first stop is something you would obviously like because it was just salami. What did you think of it?
It was good. I mean, the problem again is the crowds in July. There were so many other tour groups that you had to wait outside in the heat to get in, and so
Yep. Well,
yeah,
no, we didn't
it
even
was good.
go. We didn't even go in. We
We
ate
go in. Yeah, we
outside.
went outside. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, when I compared to the version of my other food tour, the other one was inside in a little cafe. We're the only ones in there, and the food was much better, way better food. Like it was incredible food when I had it the first time. Not to say the place that we went to wasn't good. I just thought the other place, my original food, was better. Um, Second place we did was the codfish place.
Which
So
was
that
good,
is another
and
kind
the
of like
wine was good.
appetizer, a pre-course dish, and they also served wine there. So I mean, it was just fish out of fish and chips, just fried fish.
Yeah,
Right?
but I
There's
took the
nothing.
opportunity to actually go in the kitchen when it was offered,
It's
so I got
nothing.
some.
Nothing terribly special about it.
No,
It was.
no,
It was just like
yeah,
fried fish that you get in England or something.
yeah,
Just
it was
fried
good though.
cod.
The
Yeah,
wine was good.
and didn't make a lot of sense on a very hot evening, which it was. Like, I don't recommend that.
Yeah,
On a nice like fall cool evening maybe, but yeah, or
yeah, I could
winter.
see it in October, man. That would have been great if there was just a little chill in the air and having that.
Yeah,
That would have been
yeah,
excellent.
yeah. That would have been great. But then we moved on to. I think we went across the bridge to the Trastevere neighborhood.
Hmm.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
we went to a restaurant in the neighborhood and sat down at a just a
That's yeah,
trattoria. And
Osteria.
I think there's a trattoria,
Okay,
not an osteria. But it was we were there to eat pasta. They served two pasta dishes. The one
which
I
was very good.
remember, the first one was a tomato pasta dish, nothing crazy. The second one was cacio e pepe, which is
Hmm.
pepperino and pepper.
Yeah,
Just very simple but very good. It's just a classic Rome dish. Always recommend it.
and
It's a
lots of
very good
wine.
dish. No, I will say I'm not a tomato sauce kind of guy, so
Yeah,
I will usually recommend the non-tomato sauce pastas.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So, what did you think about that place?
I liked it. It was very good. I mean, I enjoyed it.
I'm gonna say my biggest disappointment in that place was the people next to us were so
Oh, they were so
unbearably
loud.
loud.
Yeah,
Um, and I hate to say, I think that group of Americans just unbearably
but like
loud.
Americans were everywhere, so
Yeah.
it's
So,
just.
oh, that was kind of miserable. I just couldn't hear myself think the entire time, and I saw our tour guide was very annoyed at them too. So,
But see, that's why the wine is key. I found that after a couple of glasses of wine, I enjoyed everything much more.
yeah, and I'm not a big like alcohol, especially wine
Yeah.
drinker. So, yeah, it was. Um, and so for the original tour trip, oh, we'll get to it in a sec because we went to it. Then we finally ended up just at a gelato place. I don't know if it was really anything special. It said it
No,
had like been
just
there.
kind of.
It was just a gelato.
I think you gave a better food tour. Nothing against John Marco. He was just
Gianmarco,
John
yeah,
Car. I thought it was John Marco. I
it
mean,
was
he was a good
Gianmarco.
guy. He just kind of went through the routine, and I think again it was just so busy, so crowded. He just wanted to get home, kind of thing.
Yeah, it was.
Um,
I don't. Yeah, I agree. I don't know if it was just like the setting and the environment of it all, or just what, but it just wasn't great. It
I
was meh.
found I found our discussions other than food, whether it be education in Europe and Italy and his background, were more
Yeah,
interesting than his discussion of the food because a lot of it was kind of obvious.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I will say we were lucky in that Carson had taken the previous food tour, so we actually got our own food tour with Carson.
Yeah, so the second stop of my previous food tour was a street pizza place that we went to that I took you
Bonchi,
guys to, Bonchi, which is in the
Andrew
Prati neighborhood.
Bonchi,
Yeah, so Bonchi is named after the Michelin-starred chef from Italy, Andrew
celebrity
Bonchi.
chef.
Yeah,
Yes,
he's a celebrity chef. And it's his pizza place. He also, I mentioned it to you, but I don't know if you took it in, heard me, but we actually walked by his bakery at the
yeah, I
same
think I
neighborhood.
did.
But yeah, so we had the pizza there. You're a pizza buff. What did you think of the Bonchi pizza?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not on the scale of the Prez at Barstool, but I would say it's not really what we consider America's pizza. It's kind of a blend between pizza and focaccia bread. I mean, we've talked about it before. The concept of you pay by the pound, so a lot of variety. I think we had truffles and something else and meatball. I really enjoyed the meatball. Uh, and I think we got four different kinds. But for me, the meatball was the
Three.
best. The
Yeah.
truffle was very good. The
Yep.
place was packed. Yeah, it's a lot of locals there, and there's no really sit down, so you're standing on the sidewalk with a table the size of a laptop, and there's garbage cans on the. It's definitely a Roman neighborhood, and very
Which is cool.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
You
had to
got a
buy
T.
a t-shirt for mom, yeah,
Yeah.
which was a very, I wish they had one for me because it was I didn't get really any t-shirts, and that would have been a cool one. That's one thing I noticed in Europe. In the States, if you go to a bar, well, like a Hard Rock, they have t-shirts for everything. A lot of the places we go, you go, man, it'd be cool if they could get a t-shirt from this place. So Bunchy had some, but they were all for women. They didn't have any of the men's left.
They
They
were
had a
cool
kind
though.
of cool logo. Yeah, I agree.
The one we got was prayer hands with a pizza
Yes,
slice in
pizza.
between the prayer hands.
And
Great.
I will say it kind of reminded me, but not because of the negative stuff, the Seinfeld soup Nazi kind of thing, where you kind of go up to the counter and you start ordering. But the guy was funny behind the counter. I couldn't
Yeah.
understand a word he said, and he kind of knew what
He's
he
very
it
helpful.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. And then the gal that was taking the money was spoke pretty good English. So
Yeah.
I would say excellent. 5 stars on the food tour for that one,
Yeah,
Carson.
I love that pizza. It's
I
my
would go
favorite style
back.
pizza. I really like the fluffy pizzas. Like I know you're a thin crust, like I think it's Sicilian style. What you prefer?
Yeah, but
Um, I like
his pizza
it.
place reminded me of the place we went to in
Civitavecchia. Civitavecchia.
yeah, it was the same concept, and it was
Yeah.
packed with locals. We had to wait an hour just to get a
Because
table with another
I think
family.
it's Roman style pizza.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
yeah,
So,
and it was very
um,
good.
Yeah, so that was one of the stops on the my original food tour. Another stop that we didn't try, but it was actually mentioned to you by our tour
Carbonara.
guide. No, was the cone pizza. So the
Oh yes,
cone,
yeah,
but
yes,
what's unique about what they do typically is they put weird meats in it, like tripe,
yeah.
or like yeah, just like various weird meats, and they put it inside of a cone shaped pizza, and it's a street food in Rome, and it was recommended. There was a place we walked by. They should have stopped there. I don't know what. I mean, that's a food tour. Like you should have
Yeah.
stopped there, but the place wasn't open, so they should have found another one. That it would have been a better food tour if they stopped at a place like that.
And see,
Um,
that's where I think a guy like you, an American that can relate to Americans, would be great doing a food tour of Rome.
and yeah, so I recommend that. There's a bunch from a street food, but it's like a cone pizza with filling. And they have various. There's a bunch of them in various types, and try it when you're there. It's fantastic. It's really good.
Well, and I will mention too, we did go to, is it Pompey, the tiramisu place in Old.
Yeah, tiramisu place
So
in
Carson
Spanish
did
Steps area.
go, and I got to try the best, very good tiramisu. I had a couple there, but that was the one that
Yeah, so you tried.
is big on. You got to do.
Yeah, Pompey. It's a very touristy now, but it's like the oldest tiramisu maker in Rome and very famous. But
Got
it's
there
pretty.
early before the lines. It was great.
Yeah, it was like when it just opened, we got one. But it's very touristy now, but it's very good. And
And what's the pasta place
it's
across
the
the street?
layered style of tiramisu,
Yeah.
which is I know the version you like. And then that was their Spanish Steps location. Right across the street from them, like literally directly across, is a pasta place. I can't remember the name for the life of me. But
We
what's
have it if
unique,
somebody wants it. So,
yeah, I think you took a picture there. But
yeah.
what's unique about him, and I had this last time I went. We unfortunately didn't try because it was still too early. It was like breakfast time. But this pasta place, they make like homemade pasta, and they usually just sell it. But each day they have two types of pasta they sell, like a cacio e pepe or carbonara or various types. They have two types per day. It changes every day, and they make a bunch of batches and they sell it until it runs out.
Hmm.
They have no seating, so you just get a bowl, like a to-go bowl, like a little plastic bowl.
Yeah, it's like a French fry paper kind of
Yeah, yeah,
tray
yeah.
that they put it
And
in with a top on it.
you
Very
get
good.
the tub, and then you leave and you eat it wherever you want to eat it, whether it's at home or out on the Spanish Steps area. But it's just yeah, two types of pasta a day. They don't advertise what it's going to be until you get there,
Hmm.
and it's just very good, fresh homemade pasta. So definitely recommend that place if you're in the area of the Spanish Steps.
And then another place we went to, and I'll say it's probably the big disappointment in Rome for me, was near the Spanish Steps. It is the oldest coffee house in Rome, correct?
Yeah, yep.
Now,
If
Carson
not one of the
didn't
world.
recommend it. He didn't take us there. We were walking by, and I said, "Well, we got to go in. We got
It
to
was
eat
next.
or
It's
have a cup
next
of
to the
coffee."
hotel I had stayed at
Yeah, the Spanish
previously.
Steps Inn, and
Yeah,
it's a beautiful coffee shop. You know, the
they've
pastries look good.
like
Uh,
old antique art in there and
yeah,
everything.
gorgeous. We sat down. The seats were cool. It almost felt like air
Cool,
conditioned.
cool. Yeah, cool isn't cold, not
Cool,
cool
cool,
isn't.
cool temperature wise to sit on a hot day. And so we ordered a cream coffee, which was delicious. That was good.
What did you refer to it as?
Oh, what did I say it
A
was?
Wendy's.
Oh, Wendy's Frosty.
You
Yes,
thought it
it
was
was
a Wendy's
delicious.
chocolate
That
frosty.
it's consistency of it. It was a coffee drink. Delicious though. But the pastries were some of the worst pastries I'd ever had. And it was super expensive. That was probably the most expensive.
My
Uh,
so I had a bottle of Coke. It's the small glass bottles, right? It's 12 euros.
yeah. And
12 euros.
how were your pastries?
Oh, I hated
I don't think
eating
you
them.
finished it. Yeah, they were so dry. I
I
think
don't
I
know.
had some.
I don't know if that's just what the kind we ordered or what,
No,
but yeah, it was just
it had no taste. So I would say it's a. God, I hate to even tell. Cafe
skippable.
Greco. Take a picture in front of it if you need to. Put it on Instagram. Don't waste your money. Don't eat there. Go in, use the restroom.
If
It's a
you
pretty
do
place.
if you do it, I actually did go there the previous time, but I think I did it the better way because I think it's also cheaper. You order at the bar and then you drink it at the bar. You just get a coffee and then you leave.
Well,
Like
yeah,
you just did it,
don't get the
but they
pastries,
have
man.
a standing bar right in the front, and you just
Yeah,
get a cappuccino or something. You drink it at the bar, and then you leave.
yeah. Um, and then I don't know if you're going to bring it up. You did take us to another restaurant, Al
Yeah,
Giordano del Gatte, which was
yeah.
very good.
So the previous two I just mentioned, both Cafe Greco, but also the tiramisu and the pasta place were not on my previous food tour, but this place was on my previous food tour. It was the final stop. I refer to it as the Pinocchio restaurant because it has a Pinocchio theme to it.
I wouldn't
And when
even
I
say
had
a theme, but they had illustrations around.
yeah, well, that's
There's
the
no characters or anything like that coming out.
no, they have like artwork from Pinocchio, and they're when I had been there previously, I took their business card, and it has a
Mm-hmm.
Pinocchio art on their business card, and I still have the card. It's very cute little art on there. But I had loved the restaurant previously. It's just a classic like local neighborhood Italian restaurant in the Prati
Well,
neighborhood.
that's the thing. It was on your food tour, but when we went, there were no food tours there. We were the only non-locals,
Yeah,
and on the outdoor patio, it's not it's a nice outdoor patio. It's covered, but it's open. But you're basically looking up at the buildings where people live. So all around you, it's a neighborhood, and people go there to eat. We're
yeah.
like I said, we were the only Americans, the only
It was
tourists in there.
all older, usually like all older people
Yes.
too. It was just families and people meeting up with friends to eat. So I highly recommend it. I ate a full meal. You guys were stuffed from the previous night, so I was
Well, no, we ate a lot there. It was good. And was that the place too? Yeah, we got there early, and
yeah,
they
we were
weren't
like the
quite open
second
yet.
ones.
And I will
Oh
say, if
yeah,
you go early, there's a great bar at the end of the street on the corner. They have live music, and
aperitivo is what it is.
yeah, they made a great Hugo, delicious, the best Hugo I've had in a long time. So recommend that spot and the restaurant. So
Yep. So yeah, that was the food, and talked a little bit, probably too long about that, but let's get to the bulk of everything. So Rome is about the old stuff
Catholic
and the
Church,
tourist attractions. So
Romans and Catholics.
we were there for 3 nights, so you cannot do everything major in Rome in 3 nights unless you really hustle. Um, and there is just so much to do. Unfortunately, we
Well,
had a well before you we had a one place canceled on us, so the Villa Borghese
but yeah,
unexpectedly closed and canceled our tickets, so we did not get to go there. But real
we
quick,
went
we
up for
did
the lookout.
yeah, we did do we went to the park and looked out over the city from there. We did the whole Vatican experience. We did the Colosseum, the Forum.
Forum.
We rode by the War Memorial and the Unification
Well,
Memorial multiple
we're there
times.
too just because of the forum. And I think
Yeah,
it was you that said previously that the forum reminded you of a Hollywood set. It looked, was that you or
I
somebody
don't believe
said that?
so. No.
And I will say it is pretty spectacular. I mean, all the history and what was there is there.
Yeah, so
It's
speaking of like all the Italian stuff we did, what was your favorite Italian experience? So this means non-Vatican stuff. What did you like most visiting in Rome?
oh, I will say our tour guide at the Colosseum and Forum was very good. He was probably one of the best.
He was actually
He was
very
very
good.
good.
Yeah, I really
Yeah, I
liked
mean, he
him.
got us in. He shoved people out of our way, and he talked to
Yeah.
people and got us in. So, I mean, I can't really say that, but you say the favorite. I can't not say the Vatican
Well,
because
that's why I'm put it out. So we'll talk about that
the
in a second.
Sistine Chapel having the priest coming and do
Um,
the blessing. Okay, go ahead.
Ignore it about
Okay,
Rome. When we're just in Rome and not the Vatican, like the
okay.
Colosseum, the Forum, the Spanish Steps area, the Trevi Fountain, the Pantheon.
I mean, yeah, you
Um,
can go on and on. I mean, when we were
did you
having
have a
breakfast,
favorite
I was
part?
not really. It's all so spectacular. It's called kind of overwhelming. It's like as a kid, what's your favorite part of Disneyland? I don't know, Pirates of the Camp, the Forum.
No,
The food,
it's the space roller coaster, Space Mountain. That's my favorite part. How about you?
no, but I mean the food. It's like I was playing pickleball with a guy named Carlo, and he's from southern Italy, and we were talking about Toronto and the heel, and he goes, but the food. I go, yeah, I gained some weight while I was there. He goes, yeah, you can't beat the food in Italy. So the food
Yeah,
is always good.
for me,
You,
for me, it's pretty clear. So like, I hate the Trevi Fountain. It's the worst tourist attraction. Beautiful, but it's
wait, yeah,
usable.
you got to take that back and say the Trevi Fountain itself is beautiful. If there were no people there,
Yeah,
it
but
would
there's
be
never no people
spectacular.
there,
Yeah, and even your mom
and I
doesn't
hate the
remember it because there
area.
were so many freaking people there.
I hate the
And
area around it too. Like
yeah, and I
it's
can't
just
remember the
miserable
movies that were
area.
all there. So it's like you kind of got to see it. It's you got to do
Yeah.
it, and it's
And but you see all the pictures of like it feels like no one's around, and then you get there and it's just like everyone's taking a picture, and there's 10,000 people looking at this
or
fountain on
even
these
like the
small
Spanish
streets.
Steps. All I could think of. Oh, Fast and
There's
Furious. This is where the nuclear bomb rolled down.
there's just like stairs.
Yeah, and I can't remember what they're truly called, but and the shopping. We went in
Yep.
some great shops. We spent an hour with Mont Blanc talking about watches. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Bought you some nice Italian leather
A
little
dock
bag for
bed. Hey,
yourself.
you got a
Yeah,
nice wallet.
I got a sweet wallet, and
Mom
so
got a
that was a good
discounted
experience.
purse. Mom got
Yeah,
an Italian purse in Italy.
yeah, yeah. On the main shopping drag.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So I wanted to say my favorite tourist experience. It's pretty cliche, but standing in the on the platform in the Coliseum, like
Coliseum.
on the battlegrounds, like I know it's not the same everything, but like the platform in the middle, and just looking around because I love like old engineering and just old stuff. Like I like history stuff, and but just standing there and looking up at all that, it's insane. Like just to see that and just to look at it,
Yeah,
right?
but you talk about
It's
engineering. Really, the whole city, the architecture and engineering in the buildings, the arches, the cathedrals, the basilicas.
yeah.
There was there's a we kept when we take a taxi and leave the hotel, and I can't. There was a smaller church basilica near the hotel, and we'd make a right, but there's a frieze right on the corner, and I can't remember what you know,
The like the
but it had
little
a bunch of like wisteria hanging down around him, like ivy. It was just in the frieze of the
oh
church there
yeah,
on the
yeah, I
outside.
know which one
And
you're
remember, I
talking
said,
about.
wow. And I'm going, the detail on that was spectacular. And I meant to go back and just look at it up close. And, it wasn't that far from the hotel, but never did. But there's so many things in every neighborhood that you will miss. Like when we're sitting at breakfast, we're going, what are these tour groups lining up across the street for? And this nondescript church across the street turned out to be a
Or
museum.
no, it was the bones.
Yeah, the
It was like the
bones.
bone priests. There's like
Yeah,
three priests made out
skulls
of
everywhere.
bones
Yeah.
and skulls. Yeah. So okay. So um, Rome. I mean, there's so much to do and so much to see. You have to spend multiple days to actually see everything. But I know for you, because you're an extremely religious person. Um, the Vatican is
Well, the
your
Pope and I are very
pinnacle.
close.
Yeah, you're good friends. You're a cardinal.
Well, if you ask me what I remember about the 20s and when I went to Rome last, it's going to the Vatican. I had to put on clothes and stuff. Um,
And I will say, and I talked about this the last episode. When you walk into St. Peter's Basilica, it is like you're on in the Lord of the Rings movie. Like the scale and the incredible
so you need
everything
to be
about it.
more. You're in God's house. I mean,
Yeah,
you're in
it
touch with
it
God.
feels like you're in a movie. Like it doesn't feel real. It feels like a
Yeah.
CGI palace or something.
And I will say that was one of the things. I mean, it's spectacular, but also the fact that Mass was going on.
Well, we happened to it it goes on all the time. I was there too
Yeah,
when it went
and
on
then
last
the
time.
Sistine Chapel when the African priest came in, I thought they were going to tell us don't do this, don't do that. Then
Be
he started
quiet.
giving a blessing and had a nice prayer in there.
I think
So
they do that pretty regularly too.
yeah, they probably do, but it as much criticism, and there's plenty of criticism of the Catholic Church, what they have and what they've accumulated and kept and not destroyed. I know a lot of things were, but it is spectacular. The city of Rome. Yeah, can you imagine being a developer there and you try to sink a footing and you
You
can't
run into
because
another
you're
building.
yeah, turns out there's a ancient Roman burial ground underneath you and the toilet of some emperor next to it. So
Yeah. I
it,
will
it
so I will say something about the Vatican that you had noticed, and I had noticed last time. This is part of why I booked it. So obviously you get a lot of guided tours at the Vatican museums when you go to them.
yeah.
And I had booked ours through getyourguide.com. I recommend them for doing this. Um, do not get a guided tour through them or through anyone else. Get just the like self-guided audio tour through getyourguide.com,
Yes,
because
I
the
will say
guided
that was
tours
very good.
skip a lot of rooms in the Vatican museums, and there's some incredible halls that you miss if you do not go through them. There's this one that is just full of old Roman, like ancient statues of the emperors,
Mm-hmm.
and it is
They
my
don't even
favorite.
go in there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they don't go in there. It's usually pretty. It's not a lot of people in there compared to the rest of the museums. There are no tour groups in there, and it is probably my favorite
yeah, I would say
hall
it
at the
was.
Vatican museums because the
And
statues were incredible.
what you need to know with the audio tour is all the significant sculptures or statues or paintings, tapestries have a number, so you can punch in that
Yeah,
number to hear about that specific piece of artwork. And another thing I noticed, and you can confirm it or not, on the first level when you go in, you're getting your tickets, but there's a second level that nobody goes up to that you can get tickets.
yeah, but it's because they only do certain
Tickets up
types
there?
of
Okay.
tickets up there. Yeah, most of them you have to get up to the element, and definitely for all the major tours stuff you need tickets for, book them well ahead of time.
Yes,
We didn't.
and many people were disappointed, and the lines for the access without a ticket were miles long.
Yeah, we I booked them a couple weeks in advance, and they were too late because we had to do them like peak heat of the day.
Yeah,
Definitely try
three
and do
o'clock
everything at
in
like
the morning.
9 a.m. And I mean the Vatican museums aren't bad. Although most of the rooms aren't AC, but
It's just where everything converges into a doorway or a
yeah.
hall, and you've got hundreds of people trying to squeeze through, and
But book your tours when you're going like a month out. Like that is the time to do it.
the other thing
Um,
I'll say too is it's kind of funny because at the Vatican, your mom asked me to fill up a bottle, but all over Rome and a lot of European cities, there's fountains. They're just pouring water out
Potable
constantly,
drinking water.
which somewhat surprises me because I know Italy has droughts too. I don't know where that water goes, but I'm surprised it's not recirculating. But at the Vatican, outside in the museum area, there's a fountain, a spout, and I saw people filling up and drinking. And Mom goes, "Go fill our bottle." I go, "It says right there, non-potable water. So don't drink the water at the Vatican. Buy the water."
Yep.
Um, and we're trying to keep it. But you had made a comment before. You were spoiled by Vienna as a clean, organized city. Rome is not. And I knew this. I think your mom wasn't expecting it as much, but it is. It's kind
It's
of a grungy city.
it's
Um,
chaos that works.
yes. And in July and August, when it's very hot and there's so many tourists, you got to be kind of chill. Have a couple of glasses of wine or a beer beforehand and just let it
You have
roll
to
off
you
you.
yeah, you can't could have done more, but yeah, you definitely can't. You have to be Italian, right? Like
The
you have to take your
siesta.
time at a restaurant. You have to have an aperitif. You have to have I forgot the word for it, but there's like a term Italian for just taking a walk after dinner
Yeah,
with like your friends, like just walking, not literally not doing anything. You have to embrace the you're not gonna get your check for a while because you're just supposed to sit and enjoy.
yeah. Well, see, one of my
You have to
favorite
do all that.
things was that bar where we had the Yugo waiting for the restaurant with the locals coming in, drinking wine, and the guy playing music. I like that kind of stuff. And there weren't any tourists around. So,
Yeah, it
all in
doesn't.
all, Rome is a great city, the
Yeah,
eternal city. Um, in
yeah. So
July and August, it's the Inferno city. Yeah, you need plenty of water. I would say, have your euros ready when you're waiting for the tour groups because a lot of guys are out there selling them. Look for the one that's got the frozen bottles of water, and you can
yeah, you
negotiate.
can negotiate them.
Yeah,
I got a bottle for €1 and you're selling them for 2.
yeah, and
So
I will say also, if you're buying luxury goods, consider the VAT tax. I know you can fill out the paperwork and you get it back later, but it's a hassle. But if you really got
You
to
got it
get it,
bad.
I got it back, but it was because,
But if you're
oh,
buying
wait,
if you're buying something expensive, it's worth the €1,000. Make it.
yes, but it like the woman in there were a couple women by me when I was at the airport. So you got to go early if you're going to try and get in line and get your VAT money back. And it's not a one-step process. You go see one guy, he stamps it, then you got to go to the other guy to get your money. So a woman in front of me had like 5 kids, and they had bought luxury fashion items, so dresses, pants, leather goods. They did make her open her suitcase, and they were pulling out dresses and stuff. So it took a while. Uh, but the same guy that was helping them, after he was finally done, I finally got up there and he looks at me, he goes, stamps it, and sends me to the next guy. Then the next guy where I get my money was everybody was frustrated with him, but he says, "Nice watch." And I look at him and I go, "Nice watch." He had the same watch. This is one of the things I did buy. You are
You
a
finally
connoisseur of
you
Swatch. I finally got one of the
you
moon. This
finally
is
got one.
Saturn. They had plenty there in Rome, which I am shocked they had. So my wife got a swatch, but I finally got one of the moon swatches. So it got me through the VAT tax pretty easily. And for those of you, as Carson's trying to dig through whatever he's getting, I will say that Carson is now a swatch connoisseur. He's becoming an expert. Uh, we had a little Christmas in July since Carson couldn't come home for Christmas, so he got his mom a collector swatch, very beautiful.
I think it's from if I
Yeah,
remember right,
the 80s.
1996.
He did get me a Seiko, a
That's
vintage
an early
Seiko.
'80s Seiko. Yes.
Yeah, and then we finally got our Astros gear with the hoodie.
Someone already at the Intercontinental got an ion and was like, "Yo, Strohs,
Stros.
Strohs."
So
So
yeah,
you have to
here's the
wear it out.
hoodie.
You have to wear it out and see if you get some comments on it for
I
sure.
was gonna wear it, but I can't wear the hoodie for sure. I did wear the
Yeah,
coach's polo that I got at the airport and got some looks, and then also got my Stiegel flag finally. So
Stiegel, the
very
beer of
good.
Austria.
So yeah,
Yeah,
we had a little Fourth of July Christmas, so it was very nice. So
this
thank you for the
Christmas in
gifts,
July is
Carson.
a normal
Thank
thing.
you for the tour. I did give Carson some at Wits End swag to take back to
Yes,
some of his players.
right here behind me, you got some
Yeah.
swag.
So all in all, Rome was great. I recommend it. I would say if you could avoid July, I think spring and fall again would be best.
At many
I could,
cities,
you know
yeah,
what? I would love to go there at Christmas time and see what. I
yeah.
don't know what they do, but
It,
I mean, it
I
is
it was a
the
city
heart
I
of
like to go in. Yeah,
Catholicism.
yeah.
Yeah. So
All right, so we'll finish with this. Um, do you need to go back to Rome?
I would like to. I would like to go back, but just to chill. And
Okay, so
I
you
don't,
don't. You're. I would take that as a no. I think you just want to experience, like, you want to chill in Italy for a while, not necessarily Rome.
well, there's so many places to go. I've been to Rome now twice. Maybe even 3 times. I can't remember as a little kid, but yeah, we've been to Italy quite a bit. We traveled by car, by rail, by plane, and now by boat. Um, love the food, love the people, love it's so different and diverse. Obviously, the northern part of Italy is more dramatic and Austria, the Tyrol. Um, but there's so many. I keep telling you to go to Krakow. Uh, uh, there's other places to go.
Yeah,
It,
too much else
it,
to
it
see to keep
it's
going back.
it's still on the list of great places. Again, it's the Eternal City, but uh, next time I go, I think probably maybe longer and just kind of take my time and not be on a schedule to do anything.
Okay, and then let me ask, what is the
Wait,
next?
I would have been. I would have loved to have been there. I think it's this weekend for the Guns N' Roses concert.
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess final question: where is the next place you really want to go?
Well, you got to remember I'm more exotic, but I think it's going to be somewhere in the UK because I know you and your mom. That's kind of.
Well,
Uh,
I've been there, but mom hasn't been there, and she definitely needs to.
I
But
mean, for me, it's
for you,
for
I'm talking
me
talking
Tel
for you.
Aviv, Jerusalem, I wish we weren't having the conflicts with the Soviet with Russia right now. I'd love to go to Moscow and you know
Okay, so
crack.
you want to continue
He's
with your very religious nature of
not
yourself.
religious, but just historic.
You
But Britain's that way.
but okay, so but you
Krakow,
you
Warsaw,
yeah, you want to because you
the
haven't
Nordic countries.
but the Eastern Bloc interests you, and then obviously Israel I think interests you a lot.
Well, yeah, I mean Israel. I mean, it kind of is like Rome. I mean, it's the birthplace of so much.
But with other stuff, I think more likely or not, the UK is probably going to be our
Well,
your
in
next big
real,
one.
actually, I think the next one will be Linz, Vienna,
Yeah, outside of that one,
for the start of the JKU Stroh's inaugural football
Dynasty.
season dynasty. So yeah.
Well, with
So with
that,
that, I guess Arrivederci.
you said that's so American.
I know Arrivederci.
Arrived there, chi. Arrived there,
Arrivederci.
chi. Yeah, with
Yeah.
that, we'll end out
Choose.
episode 33 here. I'll end it by saying what I say in Austria, but it's also an Italian thing as well. Ciao.